Welcome, everyone, to this Global Healing Miracle Experiment Sunday call. Happy Mother's Day. Big happy Mother's Day to those who are celebrating it. And it was just before the call, Mariam and John and I were talking about how sometimes it's sensitive for people this day. So also happy Nurturing Day, in case you're a single father or in case, having a child has been difficult for you. One thing I love about the Ancient Secrets is it just kind of wraps us all in love, wherever we are, whatever is the challenge. And then it opens us up to the possibilities. I didn't come to teach you, I came to love you, and love will teach you. And that it's amazing when you let love guide you, what's possible. And what better example of love than our mothers? And one thing I said to John and Mariam before the call started was, I said, almost everyone has a mother. And then John is looking at me like, I'm pretty sure everybody has a mother. I was like, okay, yeah, that's a very good point. So good news is we all have a mother, and most of us know our mothers. So I made a post recently on, basically it was Mother's Day in Nepal a couple weeks ago. And it was so fun just acknowledging my mom on that day. And what I want is for everyone to put into the chat the name of your mom, and so that even the first name of your mom and something you love about her. Or you can say something you've learned from her, but basically the first name of your mom and something you love about her. And here's my mom. Yay. I don't know if can you see that, Mariam and John?
Yeah.
Let's see if it's John. All right, let's see. I don't know if the photo is loading or not.
Yeah, the photos have gone off.
There we go. Let me try and see if it'll go back here. See if this helps. All right, so this is me and my mom. And I love so much about her. And she is so service-oriented and full of love and kindness, And I wrote here a bunch of things. I love that she is just so truly loves God, loves Source. And this love constantly inspires her to go out of her way to also love and serve others. And I included a picture of when we went. Jane actually was just getting over being ill. My mom made mung bean soup for her. We brought a book. And then when we went to England and visited my other second mother in England, her name is Helen Meller, at Christmas, when she came with me to the wedding of Aaron and Heidi, which was so beautiful, and how often she makes a super immunity tea. I included a bunch of those pictures, and then I invited people to post a picture of your mom and something that you love. And here, Mariam posted her mom. So beautiful. I want to say, am I saying it right? Habiba?
Yes.
Tell me how to say it.
You're absolutely right, Habiba. Yes.
Okay. And what do you love? What is it that you post that you loved about your mom?
So, yeah, my mom she's like a hero to me. I've learned so much from her, and she hasn't been well for 2 years. And that day was very, very special to us because she hadn't been out for so long. And we went to a close family friend's wedding. And yeah, she was standing, she was walking around, she was present and alert. And it was such a beautiful moment. And we were just so happy. And so, yeah, my mom, she's taught me to feel the fear and do it anyway. And it's something that I do try to practice. As everyone knows, with those who've read the Ancient Secrets book, Dr. Naram encourages us to face our fears, because when we face our fears, we remove a block. And for me, public speaking is one of my fears. And so I get to face it today. Namaskar, everybody. It's lovely to be here.
I'm so glad that you're here. I want to share just a couple others, and then maybe you can guide some of the discussion. Let's see, though. I just think for some reason, my internet's pretty slow, so I want to make sure that I'm still visible here. Okay, so yeah, there's a few other people that posted pictures, and then I want to go to some of the people. Mariam will go to some of the people in the comments, but Jaina, she posted a picture of her mom. Colleen has taught me so much of which has made me who I am today. Wishing her a very happy Mother's Day. And happy Mother's Day to Millie too, my mom, delicious Hmong soup maker. Then Heidi, Hayden, posted a picture with her and Ronnie, who we all love. So she has a heart of gold that she shares with everyone she meets that we definitely know. Her life is loving others, and she's a huge inspiration to many. I want to be more kind and loving like her. Then Luke says, my mom Hilda is gone almost 2 years now. I miss her every day. She was my best friend. Even though she was 92, her mind was very sharp, very smart, witty, extremely generous, so loving. Happy Mother's Day, Mom. I love you so much. Then we got Heather Ford. This is my mom, Anne. I love her sensitive heart, how she embraces the world with childlike wonder and a true zest of life. What an absolute blessing she is. Then Mehar, this is my mom, Sonia. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. Thank you for creating this space for this, Dr. Clint. Karen, she didn't have a picture, but she says, my mom, Alice, was always such a positive force on the world for me and others, always laughing, smiling, giving of herself. Chris Richardson says, my mom loved her birth name, Barbara Ho, and her closest friends called her Bobby. I love that we've spent many lifetimes together sharing the journey still. I love these. All right, I want to hand it over to you, Mariam, and you can read some of the posts or open it up for people to share.
Okay, sure. Okay, so there's lots and lots of comments coming in. I would love to invite Jerem. Would you like to share your mom's name and what she taught you?
Sure. My mom's name was Rose, and she, the older I get, the more I realize what a superhero she was, just raising my sister and I and my cousin, and also taking care of my 3 uncles who lived nearby with my grandmother and worked full time. So I don't know how she did it. She worked 29 hours a day and still maintained a positive attitude and just a caring. She would make herbal remedies for neighbors sometimes, and she was just amazing. So thank you, Mom. Thank you.
Oh, Jerem, thank you so much for sharing. And yeah, she does sound like a super mom. And I think I think many of us feel like our mums are super mums. Just raise your hand if you felt that those of you who had a mum growing up felt that their mum was a super mum that just did so much. Yeah, I would love to ask for Joseph and Susan if you'd like to share. I can see a little one is with you. Is that your granddaughter?
Uh-huh. We unmuted.
Yeah,
Can you hear
yeah.
us?
We can hear you.
Okay, good.
Well, good morning.
Good
Happy
morning,
Mother's
everyone.
Day.
Yeah. So I'll start. My mom's name was Phyllis, and she died in 2013. And she was one of the most alive people you'd ever met or you'd ever meet. She had a heart as big as the world, and everywhere she went, she made friends. So everyone felt so comfortable with Phyllis, and she embraced life in a way that was awesome. Bless you. And everybody loved Phyllis. Jerem met Phyllis, and what a character, what a fabulous character. What a wonderful, wonderful human being. Yeah, I loved my mother so much, and I miss her every day. Yeah. You want to talk?
So my mother, her name is Esther, but she's always gone by Esky. And she remains remarkable. She is 96 years old, young, and just amazing. I mean, she can still tire us out with her energy and her creativity, and she is sharp and bright, and she has I think the beauty and the curse of a long life, as she has withstood tremendous loss, loss of siblings, loss of husbands, loss of children, and yet she embraces life, and it's just, well, you just have to keep living. And she does that by example. And I can say that I'm, the expression of the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. I'm blessed to have had such a wonderful tree to hopefully fall near. And she just continues to inspire. And to see her last week holding Lana, from 4 months to 96 years, she just lit up. And and that's what, she lives for family and for doing for others and for loving and caring and giving. And just I admire and love her tremendously. And so I'm grateful to her all of the time. And as Susan said about Phyllis, one of a kind. Just she would light up the room. So we've been blessed with some good
Great
mothers.
moms. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, friends, can we just rub our hands and just send Susan and Joe so much love for that beautiful
Thank you.
honoring of mothers. I just love it.
And am I still on here? I have to say, I'm sitting next to one of what I think has been one of the greatest examples of motherhood that I have ever seen. What over the years she has done and sacrificed and cared for, and just been a champion of not just our children, who are who they are because of her dedication and love, but the way that she continues to mother so many near and far, and does it so beautifully and selflessly. And it's been a great honor to
Thank you.
yeah, well, it's true. It's just true. So
Thanks.
I have to say,
Thank you.
I love you and happy Mother's Day.
Thank you.
It is it's so beautiful. I see a bunch of people wiping their tears away from their eyes.
Aw.
I kind of say thank you for that. The other thing that I just love, this last week, Dr. Nam's birthday, and so much celebration and so many beautiful things happen. And many people have started it as a part of the, Global Contagious Healing Miracle Mission 1008. And we got a lot of pictures of people who had gifted the book in different languages and different people holding the book. And I just want to spotlight, this is just 1 second. I got to share one of my favorites. It's so adorable. There we go. This is too adorable. Amazing. Thank you for sending that. That just made me so happy to see that.
Clint, I don't know if you're aware, but our dear friend Joseph is born the same day as Dr. Naram.
Oh, really? That is so fun. Happy birthday, Joseph.
Oh,
I think maybe now I remember hearing that at one point, and I think I missed that in the midst of so much activity. But happy birthday, Joseph.
Thank you.
Yeah, amazing. All right, Mariam, keep going. You're doing awesome.
I can see that Belle has her hand raised.
Oh, I was just looking all over my house for a picture of my kind of wild and audacious mom, who also, like Joe's mom, well, she lived to be almost 97 years young. And I said, went out as a force to be reckoned with. And she just, her name was Marty, or Martha Jane Conover Bell. And she was, she was a one of a kind. And I just wish I had a picture of her. She dressed in red, white, and blue for the last about 30 or 40 years of her life, of which it was a long life. Very patriotic, and might be a little distressed at what is going on now, but I'm not sure. You never do know about Marty. And anyway, she loved to dance, and she loved to yeah, she always was our a chaperone at things that as I grew up, and went with the cheerleaders to Seattle to be, she was a fun girl, and she enjoyed being with the kids. And I just I'm so taken with the picture of or what you are creating here, Susan and Joe and Lana. It is just Lana. I mean, it's cameo to see you on the screen, and Lana is like the epitome of peace. And Joe, you're just sharing about Susan. I just met Joe and Susan recently down here in Ashland, which has just been a huge gift. But I so get your acknowledgement of Susan is, your acknowledgement of Shakti in your life. Susan is your Shakti. And that just sort of showed up last week, the sharing about Dr. Naram speaking about his Shakti, and Dr. Smita was the one who shared on his birthday call, that it just was always there as partner for her, even though that wasn't even in the Indian culture. And so I just want to acknowledge Joe and Susan and Lana, you holding Lana. Lana is the epitome of Shakti in a little tiny form with a little tiny Shakti.
That is my mother and Lana.
Oh, that's fabulous. Just fabulous.
So,
Anyway, thank you for letting me share. I realized I couldn't find a picture of Marty Bell, but Marty Bell is kind of alive and well on this call. She would love all of you on this call, and she's been gone just probably about 12 years. And listen, it's snowing in Ashland, Oregon. So that in its own, it's a miracle to be dealt with here on Mother's Day. So thank you all.
Thank you, Belle.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you so much, Belle. Okay, we have to rub our hands together and send Belle lots and lots of love. Your sharing and everything that you said about your mother and about Susan and Joseph and Lana. It's really, I don't know if everyone is feeling the same, but this honoring of mothers and Shakti, that divine feminine energy, that creative energy, is just opening my heart even more. Just seconds ago, I was in tears because of the way that Joseph was honoring Susan. Just as you were saying, Belle, it's just absolutely divine and beautiful. Anyone else want to raise their hands? Who's feeling that their hearts are just opening? Oh, it's just beautiful. I'm going to ask if anyone else would like to share about their mother and just continue this love fest. I can see Luke is on the call. Luke, would you like to share? Luke Sutton, yeah.
Sure. I shared in that post that Dr. Clint put up with a picture of my mom, but I could share again that we're coming up to 2 years since she's gone. And many people who are elderly, they start to have dementia problems. My mom was the opposite. She was racked with pain and all kinds of illness in her physical body, but her mind was so sharp and together and intelligent. And we became best friends in the last 10 years. We spoke every day about all kinds of things. And I loved her dearly. I lost my father about 5 years ago, so my mom was on her own. So she was just wonderful. And that picture I put up on the post was at my niece's wedding 5 years ago. And even though my mom was so racked with pain everywhere, and she still got up and danced, even though her feet were burning and hurting. And it was such a beautiful night in that picture. And, I miss my mom really so much. I still sometimes have a moment where I forget she's gone and something occurs and I said, oh, I have to tell mom that in that moment, and I forget, but then I remember. So Mom, I bless you and I love you, and I'll always feel that way about you. Thank you.
That's so beautiful. Mariam, how about I just go real quick and I read the names. I just want to make sure that we get all the mom energy. I've been reading your comments about things you love, and it really is beautiful. Aparna says, Anjali, I learned hard work from my mom. Janet, Harriet, I loved and missed our days together, just doing everyday things. I miss you, Mama. Jerem talked about Rose. She was a superhero in service. Feather Wind Wisdom, Linda Rogers. My mother is 83 years young and my primary inspiration in finding my path. She is lindarogersartist.com, family historian, multimedia artist, futurist, and Aquarian. Robin Lee, good morning all. My mom's name is Carolyn. I love that she encouraged me to do what I love throughout my whole life. Sandra, Betty Lou, pure love. Mary Pat, Martha, and I loved the gift of her love in her own way. Bridget says, I love my mom, and the gift goes on. When my mom asked my daughter what she wanted for Mother's Day, my daughter said, just your love. Note, I said that to my daughter growing up, and my mom said that to me. May we carry on with that love. P.S. My mom is my hero too. Not a day went by when she did not say, I love you. Janet Swartz, Fran, she's been gone since 2000, always full of love for everyone. Sue, Edna, May, gratitude that she loved all her 5 daughters until she gently passed away, 95 and a half. Jonathan, actually, Jonathan, you want to unmute yourself and share this? Towards the end of the call, or towards the middle of the call, I should say, Jonathan's doing a special training for us that we had kind of teased last time about how to protect ourselves against different kinds of online things that can happen. And John, you want to talk about your mom?
Sure. Yeah, she definitely has a unique name. Her name is Lacilia. Her father, my grandfather, who I never met, he passed before I was born. His name was Liesel. Here in Oklahoma, that seems to be a fairly common name. My cousin's Liesel too. So, but she was born on his birthday, so she was named after him. So Liesel becomes Lacilia, and she goes by Lee. But for the first, 10 to 12 years of my life, she was it. My dad was off in the Navy. He disappeared. He just was never around. And so she was mom, she was dad, she was, and then all the roles that each of those play, because a mom isn't just a mom. I mean, mom's a counselor, psychologist. She's, housekeeping, especially for the so many years of your life. She's a cook. You add all those jobs up, and it's just, and I know it's been done. I've seen it. It's just tremendous about the amount of work and just hats a mom has to care, medical care every time you get a boo-boo. It's funny how a mother's gentle kiss and can make the pain stop. But she just sacrificed, took care of me and my sister. She's also taken in other kids that weren't as fortunate to have a mom that was available. Sometimes that was met with gratitude and thanks. Other times it was more difficult, but she just always cared. And a lot of my friends in high school called her mom just because they would always be over, and she always welcomed it and said, if you're here at my house, then you're one of my kids.
That is so beautiful. And just hearing you speak, it just makes me appreciate all moms that much more, and reading all of these comments. So thank you, Jonathan, so much. I'm so grateful for all the moms that have been mentioned, and the other ones in the chat. Sharon talks about Roberta. She drove me to school. It would have been very difficult for me to go to school without her driving me. The Node says her mom, Vijay Lakshmi, wanted me to be a doctor. She died when I was 15, and she was and is a positive force. Aaron, my mom was so kind, loving, and a good friend to all. Always put her kids first, did whatever she felt was best for us. Thank you, Mom. I love you deeply. And then we heard from Susan. Beverly says, my mom's name is Beth. She left her body at 94 years young. She was an inspiration. She was always kind and patient, calm and patient, no matter what the storm was that happened around her. I miss her wise words and our long visits. Mehar, oh, is that beautiful? I showed her picture a little bit earlier, Mehar. My mom, Sonia, gave me the gift of trusting in a higher power, something so foundational in my life now. Luke, we heard from. Janet, I love my kids, even though my son left at 26, 12 years ago, and my daughter 2 years ago at 33. I'm still learning, always a mom. And then Tara, I'm just so glad you're here. I'm going to just come to you in just a moment, but I'm just reading all these names of your moms and feeling just the gratitude. You know, some people, it's your first time on this call. And if you're first time on this call, what a great first time to be on the call. You know, the Dr. Naram, he like Beverly was alluding to, he was a big lover of something called Shakti, which is the divine creative force on the planet. And he believed every woman is an embodiment of Shakti. And there's certain things that we can do to bring that Shakti out. And he says, he would say, and we've shared this sometimes before, and always still makes me laugh. He says, you know, Clint, you need to understand that women are geniuses. Okay. You know that women are geniuses. I was like, okay. And men are idiots. You always make sure that I got that. He's like, including me, unless I respect women. And if I respect women, then that Shakti can also come. Now, when we were here in India, so many people that are in the 3-year practitioner training, on one of the very last days, actually, we introduced the Goddess Love Project, this project about helping women and girls here in Nepal see that there's choices beyond poverty or prostitution. And there's these beads called these bodhicitta beads, where they each have a third eye in them, but they just grow in the tree and they're only grown in this certain area. And at the very end, my mom, he had given her a mala with 108 of these beads and said, you know, my mom says, I want to make sure that I spread this love. So can you share those beads with everyone at the event? So I gave everyone one of these beads from my mom's mala that came from Romeo that he personally had blessed. And then we all wrote a love note to our mother. And I remember after that, I think it was Sarah Morel was asking me, she's like, you know, in these ancient manuscripts, they were telling us that it talks about how you can have more direct connection with source. And that Dr. Ram knew a lot of these secrets. During your 10 years with him, did he tell you any of those secrets? I was like, yeah. And she's like, what is it? Can you tell me what's one of the secrets for direct connection with source? I says, well, when you love your mom, it's a big secret. When you have a love for your mom, an appreciation for your mom, and she blesses you, then you're more connected with source. And there's a reason why on the very last day of the 3-year practitioner training that we did that. It wasn't just because it's a cute, beautiful thing to do. It also, it's very powerful, especially for those that want to become practitioners of the healing arts, to be connected in that way. Dr. Ram says there's knowing, there's doing, and there's being. And one of the best ways to go into being is exactly what we're doing right now. It's acknowledging, appreciating our moms. And I don't know if she wants to come on the video. My mom, I'm hopeful. I'm going to invite her just in case. Let's see if she wants to start her video. Obviously, it's Mother's Day, so you're not required or obligated to do anything. But Mom, since I see that you're here, oh, she says she'll start it later. Since you're here, Mom, I just want to say thank you. And yeah, it's not an easy thing raising even one kid, much less 8 kids, much less 8 Rogers kids. You know, I wish I could show a picture of one of at my mom's birthday party, one of my brothers. Anyway, it was a lot, and you did it amazingly, Mom. And I hope that you know how much we love you and how just couldn't wish for any other mom, you know. And I'm still learning how to be a better person. I'm still learning how to better respect, you know, the divine feminine and honor that. And I make mistakes all the time. And one thing I learned from you, Mom, is that we can make mistakes and still be loved. You know, we can make mistakes and still learn through them. And thank you for that. You know, thank you for helping me see that there is forgiveness, you know, and there is divine love, and that our worth is independent of what others think of us. Our worth is independent even of what we think of ourselves. Our worth is independent of what we've achieved or what mistakes we've made. It just is there. You know, we're just loved. And thank you, Mom, for that gift. I love you. So also, just because I had mentioned these bodhicitta seeds and also the global contagious healing birthday miracle, I want to go to some of the people that had posted pictures and a gift that I actually have for one of them. So the very first pictures that we got, I don't know if she's on this call, Katie Amodio, but the very first pictures we got as a part of the the mission 1008 was Katie. And she posted this picture with Sharon, one of her good friends, that she just talked about how they've been friends for a long time. Sharon saw her Katie's transformation, how she used to be in a wheelchair, but now is going for brisk walks, how her life changed so much, and just talked about the gift of giving her the book and the magic that's happened from it. It's so beautiful. And because you were the first people, you're the first one to submit it, both Katie and Sharon, I have a special gift. We're going to give you each one of these malas. As soon as I get back to US, it's going to be one of the first things I do, which is send this in the mail to you. So I love you and I'm with you. Thank you for that. And then this is another really beautiful story from Marta from Italy, Marta Ram. Let's see if I can just share this real quick here. Marta talked about how one of her coworkers, Francesca, was having a real tough day. You know, sometimes they would talk about different stuff. She was sick, and so Marta was able to give her the home remedy, which is also in the book for how do you overcome, how do you boost your immunity? And then one day, Francesca was having a very distressed day, and she actually asked the universe for a sign. Marta says a few hours later, she received my message about gifting her the book, and she knew that this was the sign from the universe. And so here's Marta and here's Francesca. There's the Italian book. And I just love that so much. I love that in that moment in which Francesca was asking for a sign, Marta acted on a single impulse of love. And then Francesca felt that love, you know. Last Sunday's call was so powerful because it was the whole stream of events of when Esther Francis just did one act of love and gave the book to Roma Rishi and Tara, and then how that spun on to Nikhil and then also to Klaas, and then Luke shared, and then Luke has already shared it with, you know, the picture of Hmong soup and given 10 books. I had 10 people buy books. Roma Rishi made a special request. He says, Clint, is there any way that we can get that made into a short video? So we just posted on Facebook the 6-minute version of that, and it's so fun to watch. It's so powerful. Now, there's more to it than that, because man, this community is so amazing. You know, I don't know how to say like how much you inspire me, but you really inspire me. And this week has been tough for a lot of people. Actually, you know, we always talk about miracles, we talk about love. And one thing I really like is that it's also a space in which we can be vulnerable and talk about our challenges too, and our struggles. And who feels like this last week or this last month, you're in some pretty big transition, you're facing some pretty big challenges, or yeah. So I just looking, and a lot of us are, I see, yeah, some people have 2 hands up. Okay. So yeah, I also am personally going through something right now where it's life, aditi devo bhava, and sometimes it's tricky, you know, to appreciate it in the moment. And Roma Rishi was such a powerful example of Klaas. You know, Klaas came on the call. He's like, yeah, I have better health than ever. I didn't think I would ever play soccer again. I haven't played in 20 years, but now I'm the goalkeeper and I'm saving goals and doing all kinds of moves and no pain and the places that used to hurt. He says, but the tricky thing is financially, I'm in a really tough situation right now. And then Roma Rishi came on and says, brother, you know, I just want to speak to you, brother. And he talked about how for 3 months, him and Tara were gifted this beautiful place to stay at no cost. But even in the last month, their car broke down. They don't have any money to fix it. And they found out that their time at this place was ending. And they said, we don't have any clue where we're going. We don't have a car. We don't have a place. He's like, but we've never been filled with more excitement and more love, you know. And like in the space of the challenge, in the space of the trial, he modeled and demonstrated what it's like to feel trust in divine love. Now, this week, it hit him again. In fact, a big kind of a situation happened where he got sent to the hospital, and he's in the hospital right now. So he's not on the call, but Tara is on the call. Tara, I don't know if you can unmute yourself here, but I just want to bring you on. Just maybe you can give us an update on how is Roma Rishi doing?
Well, the nurse said that he's doing good, so I was glad to hear that. And he's improving. They're hoping to let him come home on Monday, but I'm not 100% sure. but I just got a call from the hospital saying some hospital related insurance is going to cover his costs for
Whoa.
30 days. Yeah, because he didn't have Medi-Cal, which would help cover everything. And yeah, and someone else donated some money to help us with the car. And yeah, and someone else and donated a little more money for expenses. And it was quite amazing because at the worst, when he appeared to me to be at a dangerous point at home, where I realized we've got to take him to the hospital. And I called Dr. Steve, and he made the same decision, that with the symptoms, he should go to the hospital, to the emergency room. And then I was, trying to prepare for this. And the next morning, this was in the middle of the night, one of the community members here, we had found out about 2 weeks earlier, only lived 10 minutes down the street. So he said, "Oh, I was, wanting to come over and visit you." I go, "Oh, well, that's great because I really need some help now." And he came and he drove us to the hospital. And first he gave us like some herbs related to, some of the conditions that Roma Rishi had. And at that point, I went in to see, after he'd come, I went in to see Roma Rishi in the room, his bedroom, and he was in much better condition. He was not walking real well, and he was really out of it. But he was always, after he left the first time, and then we took him to the hospital the next morning, he was much more clearer, and he was walking straight, and he seemed to be functioning better. And I really felt that he had brought over this extra force of love, and it was helping to heal him. It was totally amazing. This is Jimbo Harrison, and he lives 10 minutes down the road. So he's a real sweetheart, and we were so happy for his helping us. And he took me another time to see Roma Rishi in the hospital and get some groceries. And it's just like another wonderful treasure in this community, all these loving people. It's so incredible. And I'm so grateful. And I think everyone here can really benefit from this community. If you're brand new, it's just amazing. We both love it so much.
Oh, well, we love you so much. And I just got off the phone. It was my morning, but his evening with Roma Rishi. I talked with him for about 15, 20 minutes. And, he was acknowledging, yeah, this has been tough, but he's like,
Yeah.
And then he was talking about all the miracles that had come from it. And he said to me, he's like, "Clint, my biggest wish is that I wish I had 10 books so I could give them to all the nurses." He said that. He wanted to make sure that he gave a book to all the nurses. I was like, "Okay, Roma Rishi, you just won my heart. I'm going to make sure that you get these books." But then he also like having people in the community contact me through the week. There's one woman that contacted me, and I don't want to embarrass her by naming anyone, but she says, I wasn't on the call, but I heard the situation Roma Rishi's in. Is there any way I could get his contact information to make sure that I can donate and contribute to it? And that kind of stuff. It just, I love you. I love you, Roma Rishi, Tara. I love everyone in this community that has that kind of care. Like the person who contacted me had never met Roma Rishi and Tara, but just loves you. And in this way, if everyone, I asked Roma Rishi, I says, "Okay, if we share the situation you're in, and then all of us I says, what do you need? What do you want?" I asked Dr. Ram's question. I says, "What do you want?" says, I don't know what else to ask right now other than just for love and prayers, loving energy. And so I says, well, we're going to do that. So on the call right now, if everyone could put your hands together, and really as you're feeling the warmth in your hands and the warmth in your heart, and holding Roma Rishi in your mind and in your heart, and all together from all over the world, we send him so much love. We love you, and we're with you, Roma Rishi. I know he's feeling that. Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you, Tara. Man, I love hearing you speak, by the way. You're such a powerful Shakti, and I just want to wish you a happy nurturing day as well. And do you want to say what your mother's name is and something that?
Oh yeah, my mother's name was Shirley, and she was a real sweetheart. She lived till she was 98, and she passed just the morning after Christmas. And I remember this real high point when she was in her 80s, her late 80s. She said, when I was visiting her, she said, I realized what my purpose in life was. And it is at that time, she said, to help people or those who cannot help themselves. And then I thought about that, and it was, yes, she was a nursery school teacher for years, like one of the first ones in our community. And then she helped raise money for the Deborah Hospital in New Jersey, and they would give free heart operations to children and to people who are poor, who couldn't afford heart surgery. And like, that was really moving to me when she was doing that when I was a teenager. And then after she retired, she did a lot of service for my stepfather worked for AT&T, so they had lots of activities for seniors who are retired. So she did all the seva, like, making teddy bears for children whose parents were in some traumatic experience, or they had to go to the hospital or to something like that. And then she volunteered for the Library for the Blind, and she worked as a volunteer. This is all volunteer work, for 17 years. And she made books for the blind, Braille books. And then they also had this huge, some type of tapes that the blind would just listen to books on tape. And wow. Yeah, and actually the governor, the governor of the state awarded her at some point, which was really inspiring for her. She was in her 90s and still doing this. She got this award for just service to the community, and it was really beautiful. And so she was definitely inspiring.
Hearing about
her. Yeah.
Hearing about your mother, it doesn't surprise me how you became who you are. And I thought that as everyone was speaking, Susan and Joseph and Mariam and Luke and Jerem and Jonathan, and as I'm reading all these comments, Mehar, all of them, like, no wonder you are who you are. It's so cool to hear more about your mothers and the amazing service. I have one picture. I know I posted this in a lot of the chat groups and online, but Dr. Ram with his mother, who had a chance, I took this picture actually, and it was an honor to meet her. And I just remember Dr. Ram, he'd emphasize over and over again, really how a lot of his success he credited to the blessing of his mother, to her blessing. And I just really, really love that. And I think it's appropriate actually, because it's also his birthday this week. Really on our birthdays, it's probably we should honor our mothers, and so on his birthday and on Mother's Day, what kind of cool miracles we saw, You know, and one of the miracles actually that I think a lot of you had seen was the announcement of not only the Spanish book coming out, but that really quickly, when it came out, it hit #1 on the hot new
Wow.
release of Amazon. In fact, there's one category in which the English book and the Spanish book were both #1 and #2. I never expected to see that before. And then to see the Spanish book here, it was so fun. It felt like such a miracle, especially since the Spanish culture is so much about, you know, also mother energy, divine mother energy. And I see someone on this call, Sole, just got the book, and you're the first one. I don't know, Sole, if you can unmute yourself, but I saw in the chat, it says, I ordered the Spanish book, it came, and I finished it in 1 day. So exciting. Pretty soon we're starting this global, the next miracle experiment experience, and we're going to simultaneously do it in Spanish and Italian at the same time. That's starting the beginning of June. So Sole, let's see, says, I thank you for sharing this awesome. Oh, there, can you speak?
Yes, I'm sorry. I think I have a glitch, a technical glitch on my computer, and you might hear me. Oh, sorry, I was not ready for this.
Well, I'm glad that you're here. Tell me, where are you joining from?
I'm in Buenos Aires, Argentina.
Buenos Aires, Argentina. So glad that you're here. Wow. And how did you hear
Thank
about
you.
the book?
So I heard it from the Cryon event, the free stream, and yeah, and I was looking for some answers. My mom is in a coma right now, and we are waiting for her to wake up. And I was looking for answer, and I asked so much, and I heard that event, and I joined, and I found the book, and I bought it, and I read it, and it's, I don't know, it's amazing. It's not only for this ancient secret, but your story, and it touched me in a deep way. So thank you very much. And
I didn't know, this is my first time meeting you or hearing anything about your story, but I'm just imagining that if the reason you got the book was because your mother was in a coma, and then you open it up and the first chapter
Oh my
is
Yes.
about ancient secrets for coming out of a coma. And
Yes,
it's also,
yes.
it's all a story about a mother's love for her child. It's about a mother's love and loving. I don't know, that is amazing. So it's totally divine. It's
Yeah.
so cool.
It's crazy, and I found, so I don't know if I can take to the hospital the onion and the milk, but I will do my best. But if I cannot do that, it's like all the wisdom and
Yeah, pressing the points, the Marma points. I think oh, you got muted again. I don't know what happened.
yeah, I'm
there, but-
sorry. If you hear some noise, it's my computer. I wasn't expected to join.
Yeah.
So
Surprise.
sorry.
Well, I'm so glad that you shared that miracle with us. And I'm going to post a video where it's actually of Rabat. And in it, Dr. Giovanni demonstrates the Marma points and also describes the whole process. And just from that video alone, I've heard many stories. And then also, you know, in the book, it shares the points in detail, but I'll share with you more as well. So I'm so glad that you're here.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you for coming on and being surprised in this way. Thank you for celebrating with us the Spanish book. Now, last week we talked about what can one act of love do when it's, you know, paid for or passed forward, and we saw the whole thing unfold. Now this week there's another powerful story, and Sue, I don't know if you're in a position now I can call on you, but I met Sue, let's see here. Yeah, fantastic. I met Sue in India, of all the beautiful places. And I didn't know her story. And so when she showed up and she's like, you know, was already in India and there with a friend, I was like, I got to find out what's happening. And actually, I'll just have you, instead of me sharing it, maybe you can share how you came to know about Ancient Secrets of a Master Healer and what started you on this journey.
Well, Susan Engman, who's holding beautiful Lana today and who Joe just acknowledged, is a dear friend of mine, and she gently suggested in November or so something about the book and gave the book to me for my birthday and said, but no pressure to read it, but it's here if you want. And so I did read it. But then the real thing that made the difference is she said, well, there's this thing that I can invite you to, the miracle experiment. And if you would like to do it, I think it'll give you a sense of this community and this work and the importance of all this. So I said, sure. And then what I was aware of is, if she's going to give me this is someone who I love dearly, who is like the person that I've gone through everything big in my life with, vice versa. We're that to each other. If I'm going to do this, and if I'm going to be invited to something that she finds important, which we've shared various things over the years, then I better do it, and I'm better not half do it or any of that. So I decided, yes, I will accept this offer to join in the miracle experiment, and I'm going to do it and take it seriously. So I did do that, and the part that I told Clint that was, I think that you found funny, is here I am. Then we were going to Hawaii, and my husband's trying to sleep. It's Sunday morning, and I'm hooking my cord into the phone so I can listen and watch carefully on the side, so that I can keep paying attention to every Sunday call and keep doing the doing all the pieces of the miracle experiment. And what I found is, if I was going to do it, I had to do it. And by doing it the way that it was described and prescribed, I thought, this is really making a difference. And what I told you that day, and I'll say it again, is I don't think you can undo that month. I don't think it works that way. That month was, and so then life becomes before the miracle experiment and after, because after, you cannot unsee different events that pop up. You cannot unsee things that happen in your life. You cannot unsee now I have a whole new appreciation for animals. I mean, I paid attention before, but I just got back from India, and every time there'd be these birds that would collect, or not collect, but come visit at the window, and they would sit on this tiny, tiny ledge. Well, maybe I would have noticed that before, maybe I wouldn't have, but I always notice animals now. So the entire thing was way more powerful than I thought. And it got me further into, well, the calls I was already doing, but it just got me further into all of it. And I'm so grateful. Grateful to you, Sue, for watching, Joe too. And I just want to say it was a really powerful, way more than I would have expected. I would have thought, okay, that's nice, but it's really been powerful.
I'm just imagining you in Hawaii and tapping in at whatever the hour was and making sure and being that committed. And then as a result, I love that. I love that comment you made. There's life before and there's life after, but your life changes as a result of doing this 30-day experiment where you just apply 3 of the principles from the book and you see what happens. And I know a lot of us on the call have joined, and what I'm really excited about is that, like Sole and many people who saw this, there's, I don't know how many, it was maybe, I don't remember how many thousands of people saw the interview live that happened on Dr. Allen's birthday with Lee Carroll and Monica Mariani, the Cryon interview. But we have now, I'd say there's going to be hundreds of new people playing this game for the first time. And because the book is in Spanish, and also in the Italian audiobook just hit #1, we're doing simultaneously in Spanish and Italian broadcasts, and on this space in which we know it's truly a global family, applying these principles and seeing the miracles happen, I believe it not only will change our lives, and even if you've played the game in the past, what can happen this time? When you really live those principles in a deeper way, how does it change everything? And Sue, you just really, I just loved your description of it. And then I knew also, because the whole reason you were in India was out of love for a friend. Like, you weren't planning to go to India, but you just saw someone that needed help. And you said, listen, if you go, I'll go with you. And then as a result, you got to experience your own healing process, you know, which happens. I think that's the best kind of healing possible, is when you do something out of love for someone else, and then also you benefit in exponential ways. And, you know, just thinking about like the whole journey from the beginning of when Susan recommended the book and the miracle experiment experience of the miracle experiment game until now, what's been one of the most meaningful miracles you've seen in your life? I just would love to hear one.
The most meaningful miracles. Well, I think I see everything differently. Is probably I can't say one. I'm not, one does not jump out, but I think seeing everything differently through a different lens is the daily miracle that I feel. And I think that's I know there are other small ones that I've thought of, but that's the big one because it's every day. And that is my great gratitude, honestly, because I feel influenced in an everyday way, so that things that come up, and I guess if I would say a pattern, I would say that this whole Aditi Devo Bhava has become, I always had a bit of that, and I'll credit some of that to my mother. That's the way it was meant to be. And how is this, you know, but there's also what happens when one really embraces that. So when I have been embracing it, I think it changes my metabolism in the sense of my reaction to things. And that is a daily recurring miracle that I would attribute to this whole process. And that is bigger than any of the other miracles that have popped up along the way for me, because it's daily and it's affected everything. And it even affects how I talk to my son and just how I approach life. And that is a great gift.
It's so beautiful. I just want to have a Susan Engman, if you can just come on and just share what, I don't know, what is it? What has been first of all, what's it like to hear your friend share like this from something you recommended? And I don't know, just something in whatever in your heart you want to share.
Well, I love Sue so much. And we have been soul sisters for 30 years. I met her 30 years ago, just journeyed through so many different spaces and places. And I've
How did you meet?
Sorry?
How did you meet?
Oh, I was doing my PhD internship at a pain clinic. We met over pain. She was working at a pain clinic and I came and started working there as well. And we just immediately bonded. And then our husbands, we went to her cabin and spent the weekend, and that was it. I mean, we were in love from that point on, but it was over pain, healing pain. Anyway, the thing that I knew that she had some medical issues for herself and had tried so many different things. And in my heart, I knew that the ancient secrets could help her. But I also know what it feels like to be pushed, you know, oh, you have to do this, you have to do this. And I know that doesn't work. And so just the invitation without a push, and, you know, giving her the book for her birthday and just gently saying, well, this has really changed me. And it worked. And what a heart she has. Her friend was really challenged and she said, I'll go to India with you. Mind blowing, you know, she took 30 days out of her life and went to India. She's an amazing human being and has done incredible things for so many people. We're lucky that Sue's in our community. And you look great. She just looks fabulous. I didn't recognize her when I first saw her. It's like, oh, wow, you look marvelous.
But I would like to say the gift that I would like to say the gift that I received by going with my friend to India. I impulsively and I meant that offer to go, but what I had no idea about was the gift of that time together and the gift it would be for me to address the healing that I hadn't tended to. And I told her many times that, and I think we shared that the gift went both ways. I felt gifted by even having this idea come up because I wouldn't have thought of it right now, but because of some things going on with her, I thought, yeah, I'll go. And then I thought, this is perfect timing for me too. And there's another example of, there's a great miracle right there. That's probably the biggest thing. Back to your question, Dr. Clint, that's probably the biggest thing, that I did this thing thinking, okay, I'll go with you. And what a gift for me. Unbelievable.
It's so beautiful. Uh, well, I want to say that when you were there and the 3-year training was happening, and then afterwards you joined the 1-year immersion, you wanted to go deeper even. And so you're in the 1 year, the 3rd month of the 1-year immersion, and then you saw the training was happening. You're like, I don't know if I belong here, but this is my people, and everyone just embraced you. The fact that you're hungry and learning and curious. Dr. Ram, he said that's what youth is. He says someone can be 100 years young or 20 years old. They're 20 years old if they're physically rigid, mentally stubborn, and emotionally dry. 100 years young if they're physically flexible, mentally alert and curious, wanting to learn, and emotionally full of love. And Sue, you are so young, so curious, so wanting to learn, so flexible, so energetic. When I asked her, first time I met her, sometimes it can be a little bit awkward if like you're meeting me and I'm like, hey, let's record a video to send to everybody right now, and she's like, okay, let's do it. And she just did with so much enthusiasm and so much love. It touched my heart so much. And I'm just so glad to hear more of your story now, Sue, and that you're home safe, but that the ripples of love are going out further. So from Susan to you, to your friend, and who knows who else's lives will be touched and transformed because of that, the ripples of love, and just becoming younger and younger, coming from pain, meeting in a space of pain, but transmuting it into a space of like ancient healing, the ancient healing secret. So thank you for sharing today. So beautiful. Any advice you'd give actually all three of you, about people that want to join the Miracle Experiment experience or just signed up for it? We have probably about 100 people just barely signed up for it. Any advice you'd want to give? And I'll put in the chat for those that are curious, they want to know more, I'll put the link. But any advice you'd give people who are just about to start it?
Well, I'll jump in and then you guys can add. Just do the experiment. Don't do it light. Do it the 100% Dr. Naram talks about, because it will be a different experience. Because I know it would have been, because I had all those days when I said, it'd be easier. Okay, wait, I'm doing this. And I think that is what made the difference. I don't know. What do you guys think?
There you go.
Well, as a mentor from the past, one of the things that kind of tweaked me was to be looking at what we did as a game. And we were, a week or 2 weeks into this thing, and it just hit me like, this isn't a game. This is life. This is, to have gratitude, to wake up and say what you want, and to go to sleep thinking about what I'm grateful for. What a wonderful day it was. I had this gift, I had that experience, I shared, some love or whatever I had this challenge. That's, I know Dr. Naram, it was the game of life, but it was living. It was living life and living it in a more satisfying way from gratitude and appreciation, and a way to get what you want. And it didn't have to be, like huge global what I want things, what I want to be when I grow up. It's like, let's just look at today. It's a day to day, it's a moment to moment. What do I want in this moment? What do I want out of this day? And be grateful for things, whether it's the challenge or the overcoming, or having the busload of opportunities, just all those things. It was a way of life that felt good. It felt more fulfilling, more satisfying, and more purposeful. And that was, I guess, to share. And so that's what I would say is an opportunity for anyone interested in, experiencing life in a little bit of a different way, so go get it.
Yeah,
One
so beautiful.
One last thing, I think you're saying it really well, Joe. It's about the consciousness. It's not that we wouldn't all theoretically like what a miracle experiment is, but by practicing it every day, it builds it in. And I've thought, there's literature about 21 days to change your life, or 28 days, or whatever it is. That amount of time, I think, is enough. The 30 days that one does the miracle experiment is enough to not be able to ignore those things ever again, in my experience. And that is phenomenal. So the consciousness that goes with it, and the fact that this 30-day experiment can literally change your life, because after 30 days, you will not see the world. If you really do it, you will not see the world again. And I feel sure of that. So that's my best advice in support of what you just said, Joe. The consciousness.
Beautiful. And Susan, you have anything else you wanted to add? Thank you
Yeah,
so much.
I love what Joe said and what Sue said. And the thing that I would just like to add is that it opens your heart. I mean, you really get to move from your head to your heart. And every day for 30 days, when you're with love and you're with gratitude, you really, it does something to you physiologically, you change. And it's heart opening. And I think that that's what I'll just say that that's what we all will benefit so much from, is opening our hearts and living from our hearts. So that everybody else, they've said it all, the rest of it very well, but go heart, go heart.
So beautiful. Well, we also need more mentors. So there's participants, and if you've participated in the past and you feel a calling to be a mentor, I want to invite it. And then I guess I was going to say, I don't want to put you on the spot, but actually I am going to put you on the spot. And one of the people I would love to invite to be a mentor for this upcoming miracle experiment experience is, I'll spotlight her for everyone, Sue.
I accept.
Good. When we were having an admin meeting about it, I was like, I really feel like Sue needs to be a mentor, because you just lived it so well, and just it's contagious. Just hearing about it, and just what else do we want in life? It's not about acquiring more stuff or achieving more stuff. Really, that's an illusion, but it's about being. It's about becoming, and becoming happier, and more fulfilled. And experiencing the magic of the life that we're living. Each breath is magical, that our eyes work the way they do, that we were born into this space, and that our bodies function, and that we have so much capacity. And a lot of those, a lot of the ancient secrets, when people receive their health back, is only part of it. But the whole ancient secrets, the lineage, is then, what do you want to do with your life? What do you want? When you have your health, what will you do? And if you're aligned with your purpose, man, there's so many things are possible. Dr. Ram, he always would say, everything's a medicine or poison, depending on how you use it. Even your life's work can be a medicine if it's aligned with your purpose, or a poison if it's not. And so also, I love the miracle experiment experience. It gives you, like, when in our lives have we asked every day, what do I want? We're always doing what other people want us to do, or what we think we should do, or what we're programmed to do. But it's like actually having it point back to you and saying, what do you want? You exercise that muscle. And for most of us, there's atrophy. And Roma Rishi's talking about in the hospital, he's been in bed for so long that even getting up and sitting in a chair is difficult for a half hour. Really difficult. Now, when you're exercising this, what do I want? And no answer comes right away, that doesn't mean you should stop asking the question, And so, one of the principles in the miracle experiment experience, this game, is asking every day, what do I want? Writing it down in the journal. And the Titi Devo Bhava, treating the unexpected guest as if God himself, herself is rising in gratitude. And when you exercise these new muscles, I'm calling them, man, you just become a magnet of miracles, and you have a totally different, I love, Sue, you acknowledge the greatest miracle is a different perception.
Yeah.
Like one person says that really transformation is when we perceive, when we perceive ourselves in the world differently. We occur to ourselves differently. Like that's a expansion
That's
of
right.
awareness, or a transformation. It is a miracle, actually. And it changes, when you change, it changes everything around you and all the people around you. That's why it's contagious, and because you're a microcosm of the macrocosm, when you do this, it impacts all of humanity. And it's never about the quantity of people, it's about the quality of love we put into each interaction. And especially when we change ourselves, when we love ourselves, it impacts all of us. And so thank you, Sue, for being such a powerful, beautiful, wonderful, I don't know, such a beautiful example of that. So thank you. And thank you for sharing today.
Yeah, of course. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Clint,
And thank you,
may
Susan
I
and
add
Joseph.
a little
Yeah,
piece?
please. Yeah, absolutely.
Part of how I was trained, one of the axioms I think parallels Dr. Naram's triad. And in my world, it was see one, do one, teach one. So if there's also the belief that the best way to learn something is to teach it. So anyone who is considering becoming a mentor, consider that it's a way to deepen your own experience by helping to teach it. And if you've seen it and done it, you can teach it. And so it's the invitation to go deeper.
Yeah, beautiful. I'm so glad you gave that invitation. I see many people on this call. Maybe I should just start calling your names out. But if you feel inspired, contact Carol Ray, and we'll put her information there. The other thing I just want to say again, because it's such a good example of when one act of love, you never know where it can lead. Like even I'm so excited for the people that are going to be in Sue's group, miracle group. I'm personally excited for them, and how that tracks back to just Susan and Joseph, and just in their love, in their hearts of love, saying, I really want this, and I know you can't force it, but I can give an invitation. I can give on a birthday a gift, and it's a contagious healing birthday gift. And so for everyone else who wants to play this, it's basically before that, I did want to share this picture. I don't know why I just love this picture so much, but this is the first time I met Sue in India, and this is at the clinic there in Mumbai. And I was happy because I got to sign her book.
And I just have to say, I just gotten out of the one time they put this cone on your head and drop all this oil. And then I meet everybody, and he wants to do a video. So, okay, Atiti Devaboa.
I love that too.
Oh my God.
Well, for those that want to join the Global Contagious Healing Birthday Miracle, the Mission 1008, I just put the instructions about, you give the copy of the book to someone, you get a picture of them or both of you reading the book, you submit the picture at the link that Jonathan created, and then both of you get a gift, an additional gift for the June 1st and 2nd upcoming, the summit, the celebration called Ancient Secrets Unstoppable Celebration, which we've basically put a $97 value on. Both of you get as a gift those tickets. So you get like a $200 gift for giving a book and getting the picture and just acting with love. Now, I'm so happy because also for those who register for the Miracle Experiment Experience, we're also gifting you to come to that summit, the Ancient Secrets Unstoppable Celebration. And we have the whole team behind it. They put together so much powerful stuff. So it's really a treat. And this whole month, this birthday month, is building up to that. Now, because one of the principles of the Miracle Experiment Experience is gratitude, I just have to say how grateful I am for this person. Sangeeta, I I don't know if I could ever spotlight her enough or appreciate her enough. Every time I think I've done enough, she just surprises me with more. And on Dr. Ram's birthday, she's the one that sponsored 108 books to be given away at two of Dr. Ram's favorite temples. Her mom came, her cousin brother named Buddha came, her nephew came. Also, some people who joined this call, Anand and Lakshmi came, and then people started joining us. And I was just happy to do it, but I had no idea the miracles that would come from it. We met people that knew Dr. Ram for over 30 years. At one of the temples, we met someone because we were just showing the pictures, and we met someone who knew Dr. Ram's teacher, his master at Swayambhu. He saw the picture. He's like, I knew him. When I was a boy, whenever we were sick at Swayambhu, he would come and he would help make us better. And he was so patient. We'd play soccer with the soccer ball would hit him. He would never complain, you know. And he said, there's more people that knew him. I was like, really? And so just yesterday, Lakshmi and I went to this other monastery and we met 3 other people that had known him. And it was really, I don't know what gift you gave me, Sangeeta, in this. And, you know, we gave the book to nurses, we gave it to students, we gave it to moms and dads, tourists from so many different countries. And then also some of the most impactful were the local people at the temple site that had known and loved Dr. Ram and missed him, you know. And I was the first person that they had seen since he had passed away that was associated with them or connected with him. And you could just tell there's a lot of healing that happened that day, you know, and a lot of healing that happened for me as well. And so even just today, I went back to Pashupati and reconnected with some of the people there. And they told me, actually, I wonder if I can show you this picture. I was just in one of the caves where they do the meditations. And one of the men there had a book. I'm going to show you this picture if I can pull it open. Yeah, here we are. I don't know if you can see this, but his name is Hari Baba. And here's Mike Pashupati. But Hari says that he was with another one of the Agoris, the one who picture who blessed the book, you know, that we would meet all the time when we go. It's a little hard to get into the whole story, but he said that even this mystical master, this Agori, had seen Dr. Ram. Dr. Ram had come to Nepal, and then after Nepal, he had gone to Dubai. And in Nepal, he was in good spirits, good health. Now, this other student of this Tyaginath, the Gori Baba, he said that he was with Tyaginath, that the bag was there, everything was there. And he said to his student, Hari, he said, this is a story I heard today for the first time. He said, you know, Dr. Ram is about to pass away. He's about to leave his body. So I don't think we need to keep all these things here. Let's clean it up and make sure it's tidy. And Hari was thinking, what is he talking about? Dr. Ram is so young and he's probably going a little bit senile. It was only days later that Dr. Ram left his body. And he's like, how did Tyaginath know this? And Tyaginath actually is the one who at the very beginning of the book, and I talk about meeting these mystical masters in different places. His picture is right here, Tyaginath, the Gori Baba. And after Dr. Ram had left his body, about 2 weeks later, I went to Nepal just to be with the orphan kids and, you know, just make sure they knew that they weren't going to be abandoned. And that's when Krishna came up with the idea, let's have people around the world submit videos, just create a selfie video saying, I love you and I'm with you. I know last week, we talked about how it sounds a little bit like a cult, but it came from such an impulse of love, which is letting these orphan kids know that they're not alone. And then I realized that's something we all need to hear. I love you and I'm with you. That's what I needed to hear at that moment when Dr. Ram left his body. And then I went to the place where Tyaginath was to show him the book is almost ready. And we put your picture in the front. And I showed it to him. And I was one of the last people that saw him while he was alive, because only days later, he also left his body. And then Krishna told me this mystical story about how when they were together, you know, there was a video recorded that we listened to afterwards that they talked about, hey, if you're going to leave your body, then I'm going to leave mine as well. We can go at the same time, you know. I don't know, it's like stories like this that I don't know if it'll mean so much to you, but like when I hear them, I'm thinking, basically, I'm thinking that there's a lot more things that are important than whether we live or whether we die, you know. It's not about how many years we live even, but it's about the quality of life that we put in each day. It's about what do we do with each breath of our lives. And I think I love Sangeeta because you inspired me by your love. and Sue and Susan and Joseph talking about the miracle experiment experience. If we had 6 months left to live, what would we do? Is a question that Dr. Ron would ask. And I would play this miracle experiment game, this miracle experiment experience, and I do it with as many people on planet Earth as I could, you know, and do it with so much love. And I would make sure that people had awareness that these ancient secrets exist, that love can guide us, that healing and deep healing is possible, that whatever is your challenge, your obstacle, your heartache always has within it seeds of equal or greater benefit. You know, that when you're grateful, it's a magnet for miracles. And that when you can just forget about whatever programming you've had in your life and just say, okay, what do I want? What do I want with this day of my life, this breath? And so Sangeeta, I don't know if you have any words you want to share, but thank you for thank you for this gift. That was amazing. That was a really powerful way to start off mission 1008, because you got us 10% of the way there on the first day, single-handedly. Oh, can you unmute yourself? Oh, let's see. I want to hear your voice.
I really don't know what to say, but thank you so much for this opportunity, for you like allowing me to, I mean, I don't feel like I've done anything, but this happened in your presence, and Dr. Naram is guiding us, all of us, in this way. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Sangeeta. I love you and I'm with you. Thank you so much. So beautiful. Thank you. And today has been a feast on so many levels, and I really want to make sure that we go to one thing that I know we looked forward to on the last call, last two calls, talking about Aditi Devabawa, the unexpected guest, and Brandy came on the call and talked about her friend Jennifer, who basically had been scammed out of almost her entire life savings by someone saying that Al-Qaeda was attacking her, that he was an FBI agent, that he could protect her money by putting it in Bitcoin. And this whole spell was cast, you know? And then Jennifer came on the call and talked about how the spell was broken. And basically through having loving friends be with her and give her guidance, and then seeing things weren't what they seemed, you know? And all of us are in some one way or another explore it, especially if yeah, we have a whole bunch of different age range of people who are young at any age on these calls that have various degrees of experience with social media, various degrees of being online or being connected with people around the world. And because we're such a loving space, a loving people, I also want to make sure that we're wise and that we support each other and that we don't fall into traps. Even when I was on this interview, the Cryon interview, I took a screenshot because they had posted pictures. Right under the pictures they posted was a fake Cryon account that said, hey, we're so grateful for this community. We're gifting a bunch of Bitcoin. Just send send whatever portion, 1 Bitcoin to this address, and we'll send you 3 times back instantaneously. And then there was a bunch of other fake accounts that right under that said, I did it. I sent this much and I got 3 times back. Thank you, Cryon. Thank you, Lee, for gifting us this. And then like 6, 7, 8 confirmations that this was a thing when it wasn't a thing. And I contacted Lee and Monica. I was like, this looks like someone's hacked your account or created a fake account. And they said, oh yeah, there's so many of these. So many people pretending to be us and doing things like this. And so we'll block it, but thank you for letting us know. So in this space in which who knows what's going to happen in terms of the global healing miracle, in terms of the book, and as things get out there, we want to make sure all of us are wise. Even you may get friend requests from someone you're already friends with. Well, then you can think, oh, maybe someone copied that picture. Even for Ronnie Aiden, just recently, I got another friend request. I said, Ronnie, I'm already friends with you. Is this you? She's like, no. It's like sometimes people can steal your picture, your name, and then start to send friend requests to all your friends. And they want to be friends with you. Oh my goodness, right on cue. So before we go to John, I cannot even believe we have on the call with us Rishi. Amazing, brother. What is going on? You're unstoppable. Amazing.
Thank you. Your call yesterday when I got a call from you from Nepal, of all places, that was the best medicine I've had. It just lifted me so high. I love you, brother, so much.
Oh. Well, one thing I love about impulses of love is that everyone benefits, because I felt like I was lifted high. I was actually in a really tough personal challenge at that moment, and just hearing your voice and your, even in the midst of what you're going through, your enthusiasm, and you're not reacting, but you're responding. You're choosing your response, and you're responding with love and positivity. And you know, I need any update on what's happening for you right now.
Well, they're hoping they can release me tomorrow, but I'm not too sure that they really are going to. When I came into the hospital, they said I'd be here a long time. I'm hoping I can go home. I'm hoping I can go home tomorrow. But if they decide I shouldn't, that's okay, because I'm being waited on by about 10 nurses, and they're very contagious loving. So life is it's simpler. I mean, they bring you breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and it's actually very good. But they come at 5 in the morning and they start poking you with needles and taking your blood pressure and giving you all kinds of medication. That starts at 5, and then it happens at 7 also, and then it happens again at 9. So all day long they're taking samples and everything. I think I told you yesterday that I'm just incredibly weak, and just to get out of the bed, I could only sit in a chair next to the bed for half an hour, and then I had to get back in the bed, and I slept 2 hours. I was so exhausted. So fatigue is one thing. Brain fog is another thing. Very strange phenomenon, this COVID. You know, it causes brain fog, where all of a sudden your brain just doesn't work right and you can't think. And so I'm hoping that clears up, because having a functioning brain is an important thing. So,
you know, even with whatever capacity you have, you're still more, I'd say, bright and brilliant and shining your light. And I just want to say, I'm so lovely grateful that you're on this call. Bettina and some others, like, I see this message from Bettina. She says, we sent you so much love. And Bettina says, I'm sending my love and prayers to Romarishi. Can you share his Venmo address or any other way to contribute? And I don't know the best way to do, because I know there's several people that would love to support in some kind of a way. Do you have a PayPal address, or do you want them to donate to the foundation and we can donate to you? Or?
We do have PayPal, and it's the same as my email address, which is romarishi108@gmail.com. ROMA. Let's see if my brain fog will let me get through this. ROMARISHI108@gmail.com.
Okay,
and
I'm
we
gonna
have
see if I can.
Venmo also. Tara can answer people's questions about that. And Tara's on this call now.
Yeah, she shared so beautifully before. I just put Romarishi's email address there. If it's okay, just because he's here with us now, let's do one more time. Let's all put our hands together. His one request was loving energy and prayers, and we're going to send you again one big blast of love, Romarishi. We love you, and we're with you. Brother, thank you for
thank you to everyone. You know, the best news is the doctor said I am not contagious. So I was concerned about that, because we live at a retreat center and we love all the people that live there. And I was worried that if I went back there that I might, you know, be contagious and other people might get what I have. But he said, no, you aren't contagious. they've studied me up and down. And they,
Well, I'd say they're wrong. You have contagious healing and contagious love. You should tell them, be careful, because you're going to get healthier and more loving just by being around me. I'm super contagious.
that's good, Clint. I like that one.
And I just want to say, I just got the address, and on behalf of the Ancient Secrets Foundation, we're sending you actually 15 books in the mail, because I know your other request was making sure that each of the nurses had one. So we're sending them to your PO box, and we love
that's
you.
great. That's great. I'd like to give one to my doctor and to all the nurses, because they've dedicated their whole life to serving humanity.
Hmm.
And I think the book will touch a lot of hearts.
Yeah. Well, I think what you've done in your life is a dedication of service to humanity. And so in this moment, I'm just so grateful that you let us love on you and give back to you, because you've literally devoted your life giving hundreds and hundreds of free workshops, spending decades studying the Siddha masters, and then just making sure the world had access to this knowledge, and then doing it with such humility and grace. Like, I think for most people, if they devote their whole life to that and have even written books, they're just going to be in a place of, I know I'm the expert. Listen to me. I'm the master of this thing. What I love about Dr. Ram, he was never that way. He says, every master is always a student. And Roma Rishi, you are so humble and so loving. You know, the fact that at this stage of your life that you could read the book and say that it helped you answer, get this key piece to the missing piece of your life's purpose. And then to be so enthusiastic. I don't know, that alone is medicine for all of us. And also the medicine of you in the situation you're in, responding with so much love means more than you'll ever know. So thank you, Roma Rishi. We love you and we're with you.
Thank you, Clint. Thank you.
And
Thank
I
you,
hope,
everyone. Thank you
yeah.
to all our community. Our community is so important. Lying here in a hospital bed for days and days, being unable to even get out of the bed, it's really impressed upon me the importance of our community. You know, in Buddhism, they say there's the three jewels: Buddha, Sangha, and Dharma. The Buddha is actually awakened consciousness. It isn't a human being, Buddha. It's awakened consciousness. And the Sangha is the community. And the Dharma is the teaching. And so we have an incredibly beautiful Sangha.
I know Aaron was talking about that last time.
I'm a little unable to talk right now, but I think you know what I'm feeling.
Yeah. We love you. We love your beautiful heart and your wisdom. And that even from a hospital bed, you're teaching us, you're giving us such wisdom and love. You're amazing. Thank you so much, Roma Rishi.
Thank you.
Love you and we're with you. I want to make sure that we have enough time, Jonathan, so that you can share your powerful wisdom. I want to thank, I think this Sangha, this community. And what if we can support each other in this wisdom we're about to get from Jonathan, and just help support each other, so that way we're not only loving, but we're wise. I love it. There's actually a scripture I think it's in the Bible. I'm pretty sure it's in the Bible where we're pretty sure it's Jesus. He's saying, be harmless as a dove, but wise as a serpent. Something like this, where we're harmless, we're loving, but we're wise. And something like that. I think I probably totally got that scripture wrong. But the concept of it is, let's be loving, but also an intelligent loving, a loving in which we're able to really expand in a way that, yeah, even if there's a perpetrator or something, we love them, but we don't engage in that. Like, we can avoid pain, or if there's a painful thing, we can alert others and support each other in that thing. So Jonathan, turning it over to you, the one and the only Jonathan DeLees.
Sure, but thank you, everyone. I do have something to share, and to Roma Rishi's and everyone's view here is, it is about community, and that's where I sort of want to start with this as I go through and share this. I kind of put together a little presentation. There may be lots of questions. What I would ultimately like to do in the spirit of community and helping everyone also is, if you would find it helpful, I'd like to have we can have like a weekly call where I can answer questions about anything you might have, technology. Cyber typically means technology or online specifically. So I've been working, just to give you a little background on myself, I have been working in technology since 1998. I fell in love with it in a daycare that just had a random computer with MS-DOS, and I would just type on the screen and could see the letters, didn't know what I was doing, but I just loved the interaction with it. So I've always just had an affinity to all things technology. But when I was 18 in 1998, went to college, got a computer science degree. So I've had a long-standing, just, I guess, affinity to technology. And I know not everyone does. But I'm always happy to share that. And you know, you are not alone. There are going to be a lot of questions. But just some quick key terms I just want to go over, like phishing versus spam. A lot of these may not be necessarily important for this call, and I'm happy to talk about everything. But the idea is here that there's going to be a lot of terms thrown around if you go to look this stuff up. And the biggest difference is, you know, phishing is just like it sounds. This is where someone is trying to get information from you. This can happen from fake accounts. It can happen through text messages. Happens through those lovely automated calls that tell you your car warranty has expired or the IRS is trying to get a hold of you. And it's just becoming more and more sophisticated. In fact, there's even call centers in different countries that are dedicated to trying to scam you and to get money. And I myself, as technologically savvy, I actually fell victim to a scam myself. I actually had the FBI contact me about it. And that's how actually I realized I had fell victim to a scam. And it was actually by a reputable law firm out in California. I looked it up, I did my due diligence, and come to find out it still was a scam. So if you've ever fell victim to it, don't feel bad, don't beat yourself up. Don't say I should have known, because it can happen to any of us. I mean, it's happened to me. The phishing and spam is kind of like phishing in a way, other than it's usually just unwanted solicitation. You know, legitimate offers, just you didn't really ask for it. Some of this maybe I won't go through just in the sake of time, but one thing I will say is, on your phone or on your computer, if you don't have like an antivirus, which usually comes with like a spam and spyware as well, you know, do that. There's lots of free options. I'm happy to go over them sometime on a call. But the paid ones also work very well. So just as it says, an ounce of prevention is definitely worth a pound of cure. So as we mentioned, I saw things in the chat about FB accounts being created in the name of, you know, other people, and Clint said that as well about that happening, getting friend requests to come through. People will try to impersonate you, and that's just like Clint did. Perfect example. If you get a picture in a friend request from someone you're already a friend with, don't just automatically click it. Ask and be curious, and like, why am I getting another friend request? You know, because that should be a little odd that you're getting another friend request from someone who's already your friend. So investigate. A lot of times in my IT career, a lot of people will say, hey, I got this, something's wrong with my computer, I got this error. And I'll say, well, what's the error? Like, well, I don't know, the box popped up and I just clicked it and it went away. So sometimes we're so quick to we see things and we just want to click it and kind of, you know, follow the bouncing ball. But it's a good time to practice a pause. One of the things during the training I mentioned, people getting frustrated with the login experience. And I said, but one of the things they were missing, there was a box that would say, I'm not a robot, and you had to check the box just to verify, so we can reduce the amount of automated, you know, attacks on the website. I said, just remember, you're not a robot. So take a breath, because robots don't breathe, and just calm and reset yourself. And I think that's good advice for anything that seems interesting, or anything that maybe seems odd or out of place, or even in a way too good to be true, like the Cryon scam that just happened. You know, they get a fake account, they'll say, give us this small bit and we'll give you a lot more. I mean, that sounds really easy. It's low effort, so that's too good to be true. Unlike the healing ancient secrets, it's not necessarily low effort. It takes time. You know, it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of intention and awareness. So the healing miracles, they're not too good to be true, because they take effort, they take dedication. Whereas send me $1 and I send you 3, that definitely seems too good to be true. Here's some examples I found of some fake texts that try to come through, and they'll mention anything, really just anything. A lot of them, what they want to do is they want to send you links. So whether it's in a text or in an email, you want to be very careful. Look at the link. And here, coming from Apple will never send you, or if pretty much any official organization and corporation, they'll not send you a shortened bit.ly link. Typically, they'll send you their official website. And here you can see updateapple.uk. Well, that's not an official Apple site. So I would not click on any of these. You know, these look off. They want you to try to click and get you into their system and start weaving this spell, essentially of lies and deception, to get you to somehow give enough information so they can either get a credit card or enough to take your identity, and then, you know, get what they're actually after. This was one actually from my own account I found. I was looking through my spam folder, and that's a good thing with a lot of Gmail or online email providers. They already have built-in spam protection. Sometimes it's a little overzealous, can get things that are not spam. But this was a person, and I wanted to point out here, this came from this, you know, made up email that someone just made this up for this purpose. But they're saying they're from Best Buy and that I authorized this transaction. So obviously, one thing you'd want to do if you're like, I didn't spend $450 at Best Buy. I know I haven't. So this tries to make you think that, oh, something's happening with my credit card information. And I can guarantee you, these people, if I called them or got on their website, the first thing they'd want me to do would be to authorize and confirm the credit card, you know, that I had and that was used. And they would try to get that information from me, which they would then use to make unauthorized purchases. So these are just some things to look out. You can see here, this is sort of, like I said, the from address doesn't match Best Buy because it says it's from Best Buy, but it's not. And then you'll notice whether it's in the text or in the email body itself, it'll be kind of generic. Look out for words that are misspelled, poor grammar, you know, generic terms of like dear customer. If it's not specific to you and it seems pretty generic or has any grammatical errors, it's probably a phishing attempt to try to get your information. Now, this was another one that, so this one was the sort of, I talk about there's basically 3 types. Why I buried it down there at the end, but there's kind of 3 broad types. This is sort of like there's a problem. We're here to help you, you know, where you're the defendant. Like, hey, we noticed there's something wrong with, you know, your credit card, you know, could be Al Qaeda or we noticed some organization is trying to, you know, hack your accounts or has. So it says that, hey, we're here to help. You know, that's the situation they try to create. And this one is probably more along the lines of what you could call like a honeypot situation, where it's like, hey, we noticed, you know, if you ever used, you know, Walmart.com, there's this, you know, this lawsuit that's being done that you could get part of the settlement. So this entices you with a reward of some kind that you might not otherwise have known about. So this, since I don't know this website, when I just hovered over the link, which you don't click this, but on most browsers, you'll see down here at the bottom, this takes me to some weird googleapis.com website. So this already kind of looks very suspicious as far as I definitely didn't trust this. And if you notice, this was sent to, I don't know what this email address is. It's not my Gmail address. Most likely this is also their fake account. And they sent this to me through what's called the BCC, or the blind carbon copy. You don't really need to know that, other than basically it hides the actual emails this email was sent to. So if I did a reply or anything, or reply all, I would reply to this, and then they would know that my email address is actually a good email address, and they would probably target me more. So that's one of the things. If you click a link, and sometimes even opening up the email can let the phishers know, hey, we got a ping, this is a good email, so they'll start targeting you even more. So just be very, very careful about what you click and what you open. And this is what I talk about. Definitely don't respond. I've had, I've had my mom even talk about how she would get missed calls and she would call them back. There's been a lot of people who have spoofed. There's been a lot of people who've called me and said, hey, I got a missed call from this number. And I said, no, I never called you. And it's because these systems are getting so, I guess, so advanced that they know, based on the area code of the person they're calling, they will spoof an existing phone number to make it look like it's coming from a local number, because people are more likely to answer a familiar local area code and phone number than they are one that comes from out of state or a different area. So they use familiarity, and they've evidently spoofed my number somehow, and people have called me saying they've got a missed call, and it wasn't me. So typically don't call back missed calls from numbers you don't know. I mean, if it's a legitimate call, they'll leave a voicemail, from what I've found. And as always, use strong, unique passwords for for pretty much everything. If you want to silo it, you can. For like your social media accounts, use one password. For all your financial accounts, use another one. And for your computer, you use a different one. Definitely have a password. If it's hard to remember and you don't want to write them down because that risks security, you can find password managers like LastPass that'll help keep track securely of everything for you. But so I mentioned, just use everything. Anywhere you see 2FA or MFA, that just means multi-factor authentication or two-factor. So that way, if your username and password does get leaked somehow, it still requires things like sending a text to your phone and using a code from your phone, or using an app on your phone or something else to authenticate and make sure that it's really you. So if you start getting pings and saying, hey, use this code to confirm your login, you'll know my username and password somehow is compromised, and you can go through and do a security sort of audit. Obviously, don't share private or financial information with anyone who calls or emails or texts asking you for it. Official, FBI or government or proper people, they won't ask for this information. Definitely not on the first phone call. A surefire way that you can find out whether it's legitimate or not is these people, these scammers, they don't want to give you time to think. And in a lot of ways, it's kind of a sales technique of, like, if you give a person too much time to think, they will, they'll be able to talk themselves out of it, or they'll be able to really consider the situation, and then they'll, decide to not make that move. So that's what these scammers want to do. They want you to make a quick decision. They want to say, hey, here's this urgent thing. If you don't act now, this is what's going to happen. And when you say, well, I need time to think, where's a call? I want to consider this. I want to talk to other people. I want to confirm. They tend to get kind of aggressive and maybe even angry. Whereas before they seemed very, very, helpful in their tone, very welcoming. So that's another thing you can use to measure whether or not they seem to be a legitimate person. So this is where I talked about take time out, take a breath. They do try to create the urgency, victim versus reward versus defendant. I've talked about those. Now here's something you do want to do, and this goes back to community. Find a friend, a relative, or someone you know you can trust and ask for help if you get something that seems suspicious or you question. That's the thing they also like to do, is they like to isolate you, to not let you talk to other people, because they'll make it to be a bad idea for some kinds, for some reason. So that's the other thing. But so you have a community here, and not necessarily just me, but I will be happy to make myself available. And that's sort of the quick end of it all. I'll put my email in the chat. If you do want to maybe have a weekly call, I'll plan to send out like a survey asking what are the main topics. And I'll even have it where you can send your questions ahead of time, so I can make sure I'm prepared to answer them, and we can talk, we can have a conversation, we can support one another. And that's it. I love you and I'm with you. Now I do see Deborah, you had your hand up before, and Jeremy recently. So Deborah, did you have something in particular for this, or was it related to something else?
It was related to something else. But
Okay,
thank you for your presentation.
Oh, well, you're very welcome. So Jeremy, did you have something related to this?
Yes. First of all, thanks so much, Jonathan. This is so great. Something a friend told me quite a while ago that's been really helpful for me is when I have a question about the legitimacy of an email or a call or whatever, he would always say, consult the Oracle, put a question in Google, be as articulate as you can, like with the situation with your Best Buy. Just Google Best Buy email scam regarding payment or something like that. And usually there's really good information if it is a scam or not.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Sue?
Yes, Jonathan, I don't know if this is possible, but when you said antivirus protection is available free of charge, that's like something you go to the App Store and get, unless I'm missing, or is it more, anyway, my question is, if it's not too complicated, I feel like everyone could use that, and it might be too complicated, but if it isn't, everyone could use that, and we could have that in place while we learn more and think about what more we need to be doing. So that's my question.
Sure. I'll gather. I've used quite a few different antivirus options. Right now, I prefer McAfee, which is a paid subscription, and I like that. For the main thing is they have a suite of a lot of options of not just for your computer but also for your phone, and they have ways to securely like shred files. So that's one other thing, is like when you delete a file on a computer, it's actually not fully deleted. All they do is they take away the name of the file, so you don't see it in the structure, but the data, the file content is still there. Just the tag that kind of points to it is gone. So but it's still there. So it has a lot of good options that I think cover a lot of bases all in one application. So that's what I personally use, and it's relatively cheap because it gives you 5 or 10 licenses. They have different levels, so it covers all my computers and my family's computers. Install on your phone. So that's right now is my personal recommendation, but there are some free ones. I'll get a list of what those are, and I can send those out.
What is the of the one that you like yourself? I heard the word, but I don't know how to spell it.
Oh, sure. It's McAfee.
Okay.
But I didn't even spell that right. That's 2 E's. Maybe 1 F. Now that I'm spelling challenged now that I'm in front of everyone. Yeah, just 1 F. So let me put the link. This will work. Ooh, not that one. So, but yeah, but I like to do like to go to use McAfee. And you might, if you Google it, you might look at like, I'll maybe Google it and find a better link. Because anytime any corporation this size, when they offer a product, you can often look at like McAfee discounts or McAfee specials, and you can get a better price. Right. If I'm saying this right, Zafy. Oh,
Oh,
you
you're
need
gonna
to
have to
unmute.
unmute again, Zafia. Just click the unmute.
Zaft.
There.
Hi, got it? Do you hear me?
Oh, that's Zappy. Okay.
Hi. I was wondering, I thought the Apple Macs don't need antivirus. Is that not correct?
I would have to look at that. I think the Macs tend to be definitely, because their architecture software is all proprietary, it's much harder to hack those, whereas Windows it's designed to be more kind of open, plug and play for all sorts of hardware and software. So it's definitely more general purpose. Though I can't say that, I mean, it's obviously just like anything, it can be susceptible to attacks. But I'm definitely not an Apple aficionado, but I'm definitely good at research, so I can look up Apple specifically too.
Yeah, and then just some of this stuff applies to everyone because you get emails, or if you're on Facebook or whatever, you just want to learn to be smart about that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
Thank you. And also, I have to share, I almost got really duped. I Googled PayPal fraud department because somebody had been not been honest with me with PayPal. And it was a fake number in India. And they're like, oh, your account has been compromised and you have to prove it's you, you have to go down and get cards from pharmacy or something. I'm like, this doesn't make sense. And it was just so where they were so professional. And I'm like, this doesn't make sense. So I had my son come and we're like, what the heck? Because they got into my account because they said, oh, well, we'll send you a number. I don't know. I don't know how, but man, they are really professional and they act like it's like right now, it has, we don't take responsibility for what happens if you don't do this now. And I just said, this doesn't make sense. I hung up and I Googled another number and I found PayPal and they said, yeah, this happened. I said, I don't understand. Why did Google allow it to be at the top? It's because they were paying Google. And that is so unethical, but I think they got it done. I mean, we can't hear you. I can't hear you, Jonathan.
Oh yeah, that's because I wasn't talking to you. My wife called.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No, that's fine. She called and I just made her aware of what I was doing real quick, and I was listening too.
Tell her hi for us. Yay.
But it's very scary because it was actually came up at the top of Google. And I think they fixed it, but it was very, very disconcerting because I'm like, why would it be under fraud, like PayPal fraud department, and it's at the first one. So but it was a scam. But yeah, they kind of scare you into into like, if you don't act, you'll something bad will happen. But it was pretty freaky. But yeah, it just never makes sense to go out of your house and go get a card. Like, this doesn't make sense. But I just wanted to share that even looking up things on Google, it may be inaccurate, the phone numbers. So to really, really do a thorough research on that.
Yeah.
But thank you so much, Jonathan. This is such great information.
You're welcome. Yeah, there was a and someone did it as a study to show how you could easily defraud even a government agency using Google's own options. Like they found a local FBI office, and through the Google listings, they updated it and made a listing, their own listing of like a business, same name at the same location, except they put their phone number in there, which their phone number ran through. Basically, here's what's funny is their phone number wasn't the correct FBI agent office number, but what it did is you called the number, then it passed it through to the real FBI office, but then it recorded the whole conversation. So there is definitely, improvement that can be happen, that needs to happen with these listings. And this guy like recorded the conversation and took the FBI office, like he was scared he might go to prison because of what he did. And they were very concerned at first, and they really questioned him really hard. And he said, look, I'm doing this to let you know this can happen and how easily I did it, and that people, of what this could be. So you're right. The key you picked up on was perfect. That was, they were saying, if you don't do this now, we can't basically ensure, that you are protected. And that's one of the key indicators, is they want you to do it now. They want you to take action now. Otherwise, there's consequences. So that's one of the key things that I have found tends to be across all of these scammers, is they want you to take action now. Now, there are going to be some that are more, what I would call more con men. They're in the more long con, but most of these scammers, they churn through. So they want action now, action now, action now. If you don't do it, they just move on to the next one. But you do have to be careful of that.
I see in the chat some good additional options from Luke as far as some other antivirus software, some good suggestions for Bettina and from Leonore. Maybe we take one more question on this, and then we can create another space to go even deeper in the future for those that want to. I see Joseph and Susan, you have your hand up.
I'm going to move this. Can you bring the hot pot?
Hi. Yeah, one is a tip, and another, something happened to me. But when you get something that says, about you've been charged this, or the authorization for whatever, to actually go to your bank account, go look at your credit cards. If you have the legitimate account with whoever it is, Best Buy or your bank, check those, because it happened recently to me, with continues to happen. And it's a scam. And that's another way to check legitimacy. The other thing that happened to me recently, which was so disturbing, is the people that have a massive amount of my own personal information. They were able to quote, my license number, all these different things, a professional address, that they actually, because there's so much public information, that they did their homework, they had all their research on me, and had just mind-blowing amount of information that then, again, it's the threats and I need to do it now, and or else, and all those things. But I went down the rabbit hole much further than I ever had, because of all of the information on me that they had that was actually accurate. And it involved, again, FBI and going to jail and all these things. And it was professionally related. And the end of the story is that, of course, legitimate government agencies don't do the things that they were doing, but because of the way they presented it, it was very disturbing. And so be careful, even when you think they have you, or they're legit, because they've got much better ways now to dupe you into thinking that they're legit.
Too true. You can even find out someone's political information and their home address. A lot of that's public. I was surprised to find my information with my home address. out there, and it's free. And but I didn't put it out there. So that's the other thing is there's a lot of information, like you said, they're getting smarter. They're getting these artificial intelligence algorithms to go out there and collect all these profiles and all this information. We put so much information on social media anyway for people to see, and they can just go through there, create a profile on you, and talk to you like they know you, because in a way they do. So yeah, it's definitely something to be very, very wary of.
Thank you.
All good points.
Thank you so much, everyone, for participating in this. Thank you, Jonathan, for putting in the effort, taking the invitation to really help us all to support, to be more wise ourselves and help support each other as well. Just out of curiosity, anyone be interested in going into more depth with Jonathan at some time, or having a chance where you can have some more Q&A? I see some hands being raised here. Good. So we'll find another time and set where we can go into more depth on that, Jonathan. Thank you so much. I see, yeah, also lots of great feedback from the community I see in the chat. So if you want to, you can save the chat. And I see Jonathan put his email address there. Anything final you want to say on this topic, Jonathan?
No, other than just, I love you and I'm with you. And as you can tell from the responses, you've got a lot more support than just me. I'm just one part of it and happy to do my part. And I'm grateful for all the feedback, and just, it is part of life. So so all we can do is just accept it and smile and be grateful for what we do have.
Oh, beautiful. I want to go back to Deborah, because I know you had raised your hand, but it was about something else, but I don't want to miss out on what you wanted to share, Deborah. And I know you just got back from India as well and had your own powerful experience, but anything that you wanted to share, Deborah?
Well, today probably isn't enough time to talk about my trip to India and doing the Panchakarma, where it was life transformative at all levels. But what I really wanted to share today's Mother's Day.
Mhm.
And so what I really wanted to share today is we had Dr. Hemang had come to the United States and done pulse readings. And when he did the pulse readings, he told me I had a trauma, and he taught me how to do the forgive and forget marma, which it was just using pressure at a point to stimulate the unconscious forgive and forget in my body of the trauma. Well, the trauma was around my son, who, I don't know what happened, but for years, he was very angry and mean to me. And it was like, it's all you, Mom, it's all you, Mom. And there was no talking to him. And I'd gotten so resistant because it was so painful that I would react to his anger rather than be present. I shared the process that you teach the other day with someone about who you say, what I hear you say is, until they finally get understood. I couldn't do that for him because I was in so much pain. And after I did the forgive and forget marma, I actually was able to be present with him long enough that he felt understood. And it's like I have a brand new son. I mean, I can't even tell you, it's like, I keep thinking, who is this kid? Because he's so loving and thoughtful and kind, and he's not angry anymore. And so I'm going to tell you, that was the greatest Mother's Day gift I could have. And I want to thank you so much.
That is so beautiful. I'm so glad that you shared that. Thank you so much, Deborah. We're talking about cybersecurity, fraud, scams, all this kind of stuff. And just also, there's the question of what do you want this week, for several of the days, I said, what I want is liberation from illusions. Now that's a tricky thing when you start asking for that, because man, I started to see, yes, I'm all about love and miracles, but also I have stinky parts. I have parts of me that are unconscious, or that I've hurt people. I've made choices that are bad, and just through my own whatever patterns or habits. And I've really had to face a lot of that this week. And what I love, Deborah, is that you took an opportunity to use the ancient secrets to change yourself and to change your own perception. And then everything changed around you. Like, he didn't have to change, but when you changed yourself, naturally everything around you shifted. And so thank you so much for that, and for being a great example of that. And then also for me, like when I think about some of the choices I've been making that have, inadvertently, like intentionally, knowingly or unknowingly hurt anyone. Also, I just want to say in this community, if there's anyone here in this community that I've hurt in any way, knowingly or unknowingly, I just want to say I'm sorry and please forgive me. And thank you for being here. And thank you for showing up in the ways you do. And Deborah, thank you for sharing this. Jonathan, thank you for sharing. Sue, man, amazing sharing today. And everyone who's here, either watching live or the recording, sharing about your mothers. Actually, Renara sent in a picture, and let's see if I can even show this, because she wanted us to make sure we showed this picture. She sent it to Jana. I just love pictures when people share the pictures of their moms. So just share this last picture on this Mother's Day. Let's see here. I don't think she's still on the call, but here's Renara with her three powerful sisters and her mom. We'll have her share about her mom next time. To all the moms out there, thank you for giving us life. To all those who want to be mothers and haven't been able to for whatever reason, thank you for having that desire, and thank you for choosing to focus that on whatever is nurturing and loving on the planet. And for all those fathers who are raising kids on your own, thank you also for being so nurturing and loving. To all of you, thank you for being here today. I'm already looking forward to next week. We have a big week ahead of us in a lot of ways. On this upcoming Saturday, we have the 1-year immersion Saturday call. We have a lot of things in between, and then next Sunday's call, I'll still be here in Nepal and have some real special treats for you. If you can, join us for the Global Contagious Healing Miracle, the Mission 1008. And I love you, and I'm with you. If everyone can just put your hands together and just all together, you can unmute yourself. I'll see if I can invite you to unmute yourself. You can say, I love you, and I'm with you.
I love you and I'm with you.
Love you and I'm with you.
Hi, Mary. Love you and I'm with you.
I'm with
Love
you.
with you. I'm with you.
And I'm with you.
Love you and I'm with you.
So much.
Maurice.
Love you and I'm with you. And I'm with you.
I love you and I'm with you.
I love you and I'm with
I love you and I'm with you.
Brother Maurice, love you.
I love you and I'm with you.
With you and I'm with you.
I love you and I'm with you.
Susan, Susan, love you.
I love you and I'm with you.
Love you and I'm with you.
I love you and I'm with you.
I love you. I'm with you. I love you and
I love you and I'm with you.
I'm with you.
That is so beautiful. Thank you so much, everybody. Love you. I'm with you. Keep looking out in your email or through Facebook or Instagram for some of these really powerful posts and stories we'll be sending this week. Love you. I'm with you. Happy Mother's Day. And Roma Rishi, so much love to you and anyone who's in a moment of struggle or challenge or trial has within it the seeds of equal or greater benefit. I love you. I'm with you. Namaskar.